Hello and welcome to day 6 of the team tournament. Today I'm up against Owie, and Owie is fairly high rated basically across the board. He's one of the strongest competitors in the team, I believe. Hairspec and I are the only ones that haven't had a losing series yet, so either way, one of us is going to have that change today. But let's see how it goes. You can see both of us are racing toward the mid resource, at least in the beginning. This was pretty much expected. Ali and I both kind of operate on the same strategy. It's a very secure strategy, and a lot of high-level players do end up using it, so it's not that much of a surprise. But that said, my machine gun was on the wrong side, so you see his is going to get into the fight a lot sooner, and my machine gun being a little indecisive there. I'm going to have to straighten that out. It's trying to do things when it needs to be contesting this resource. But yeah, I lost my shotgun, my assault is already low, and all of his bots are still very healthy, so that pretty much means he's going to win this fight over the mid resource, and that's going to be a bit of a problem, I think. But yeah, I can't get bots into the fight fast enough at this point. I think the mid resource is as good as his. As his shotgun grabs it, makes it off. I don't have the pressure there to stop the shotgun, so that one is as good as gone. But we can see how the rest of these go. You can see my assault and shotgun are trying to grab some resources close to bases and try to capture those. But he's already carrying 2 resources in, and it looks like his sniper is actually moving to another one. My machine gun's trying to move to interdict, but I don't think it's definitely not going to get there in time, unfortunately. But I am going to tie it up at least for a second, and I'm grabbing another 2 resources. Meanwhile, 3 of his bots are fighting, so I will be carrying more resources than him here in a second. But that said, he's still got the 1 resource advantage from the mid node, so I still have to take one of these 3 from his side, and I'm not entirely sure that that's going to happen. His combat, as you saw in the beginning scuffle over the mid, is pretty solid, and that I don't know that I like. I don't know how to really solve that though, the path findings through the enemy team. But so my shotgun's probably gonna get lit up. Okay, I dropped the resource to fight, so hopefully it'll pick somewhere else to go, because that is definitely not the correct direction. But I am pushing him away from these resources. So I need this resource the shotgun has, and I need this resource that my machine gun is approaching. If I can get both of those, which apparently I can't, but if I could have gotten both of those, that would have secured it. But this resource is very close to his base. My bots are moving in to protect and contest it, but he's got more bots fighting here than I do, so that should give him the upper hand in the fight itself. And my machine gun trying to pressure his shotgun. This resource is it. Like, this is the game-winning resource, and it's very close to his base, and just I think that's it. I think that's game. The shotgun managed to get the resource, and it's making its way back to the base, and there's nothing I can do about it from this position. So good game, Maui, and on to the next one. So welcome to the domination match. You can see this is a 5-base match, and the bases are a bit more spread out, which I generally like, but again, Owie is a competent competitor, and domination is his highest rated matchup, so I don't think I can write anything off this early. My bots, you can see, are all rushing 1 base, whereas his are spreading out, and I think spreading out might be the correct choice. I think I know how I can do something similar to that, and I might have to implement that sort of behavior. But you see, he's up 2 bases to 1 right now, and he's capturing a 3rd base. But I did manage to kill his sniper. Not that that's a huge deal in domination, but it does give me slightly more combat presence for the moment. And his shotguns are very dedicated to staying on that base. You can see he's also grabbed this force field. This is going to make that machine gun kind of a pain in the ass too. I'm gonna have to do something about that, I suppose. But I am neutralizing 2 bases, that's good. I'm only down 3 points. 3 points is not insurmountable, so I might be able to make a comeback from that. But this MG on this force field, as I've said before, force fields do a very good job of protecting the bot inside and making it several times as strong as it would otherwise be. But you can see he's not leaving any of his bases unprotected. So, and one other thing I did want to mention, Gil on the Discord did point out one mistake in my understanding of how this works. I'll get back to the fight in just a second. If you watch the base, you can see the circle filling up and eventually reaching the outer ring. And when that happens and the scoring rate says 100%, that's when you actually score points. Now, I was under the impression that when you stepped onto an uncontested base that was scoring, it would reset the score progress immediately, which we can actually see here. It didn't reset it, but it did quickly decrease it. So that was an error in my understanding before, but that's how that mechanic actually works. It doesn't immediately reset it, though it does pause progress and push it backward towards 0%. And it does so pretty quickly, but it's not like stepping on immediately helps. So you do have to kind of retain the base for a little bit. However, back to more relevant matters at hand. You can see Aui's score is growing. He was 4 points ahead, he's now 6 points ahead, and he's maintaining steady progress, and this machine gun is really being a problem for me. His base capture here is really good. I generally ignore the bases because I'd rather be on, or ignore the force fields rather, because I'd rather be on a base capturing the base. But my bots are getting caught up doing the things that I normally critique other bots for doing, which is unfortunate. But it's too late to correct it for this matchup, obviously. And here we go. This is going to be a little bit of a bloodbath here. I've got numerical advantage, so I think his machine gun's going to die, but his other machine gun is in the force field, and that's going to be a bit of a problem for me. But 8-point lead, minute 30. I think you can still come back from that, but given how things have gone so far, I don't think I'm going to be able to recover this one. However, the shotgun is coincidentally on the correct base, so that's nice. And you can see now his base is restoring, which is unfortunate, but the shotguns are trying to pressure his machine gun, but that's kind of useless. The two shotguns are never going to be able to push him off from medium range. I probably need to work on my shotgun combat at some point. But I did narrow the gap to 7, so that's nice. As long as it stays there. And we'll continue making progress a little faster, I guess. But you can see Aui's combat is actually really solid. I think a big part of it is his bots in domination. They just don't retreat at all, which there is quite a bit to be said for that, because bots you get so many bots and they respawn so quickly in domination that retreating isn't necessarily helpful. And if that's what you're doing, taking force fields is just fine. There's no reason to completely ignore them if you're never going to retreat. But 8-point lead. Yep, this is going to go to Aui, and he's going to take the series. However, we do still get to watch elimination and see how that goes. But yeah, so congratulations, Aui. And let's see how we do in elimination. So up here in elimination, you can see we got this I consider an 8v8 spawn because of how the bots are positioned. He went with 2 of each type of bot, which again, not uncommon. But you can see my bots are all kind of converging on one of his, while his bots are kind of splitting up between the groups, and it's creating the assault side and the heavy side, as I like to call it. And his bots are kind of even fire teams, but he's got the shotguns here, and having your shotguns split like this, I feel like is suboptimal. In no small part because the shotguns work best as a duo hunting isolated targets. If you've just got one shotgun in each side, you're kind of relying on your opponent becoming distracted and falling for the shotgun's shenanigans, which you can see my bots here are pushing the shotgun away. Like I said before, you have to put some pressure on the shotguns or they just come in and do too much damage. But you don't want to put a lot of pressure on the shotguns, because if too many bots are shooting at the shotgun all the time, then you're not putting pressure on the bots that are actually doing the damage. And his top side here is pushing a little bit, which is pretty impressive that my assault side is holding as well as my heavy side. I always kind of considered the heavy side to be the stronger combatants between the two groups, but the last few days my assault side has actually been performing very well. And I mentioned in my last video that I was going to experiment with having an all assault lineup. Oh, now you can see the assault side kind of getting pushed, but immediately retaking that ground. But I did mention in my last video that I was thinking about experimenting with having my my lineup be all assault bots. I never did get around to experimenting with that, but I might still have to keep that in mind. It could be interesting. But for the most part, you can see we're pretty unified, or pretty evenly matched so far. Now his shotguns are grouping together. Fortunately, they're grouping together on my heavy side. I don't know that my assault side could handle that, but that's going to let my assault side basically be 4v3 down here, while my heavy side is 5v4 up top. And I think that is advantageous for me. But we're we're halfway through the fight. I've taken some minor chip damage on one of my assaults. He's taken some minor chip damage on one of his shotguns and looks like one of his assaults. So we're still very much anyone's game. Nobody's really low enough to ooh, this assault just took a bunch of damage. He could grab that health. Yeah, there it is. So he did opportunistically grab that health that he needed. That was really lucky for that assault, I think. And there's no real planning for that. Sometimes the health packs spawn near you, sometimes they don't. And in this case, it spawned on the bot. There's not really a whole lot you can do about that. But I think it looks like he is slowly starting to push me back a little bit. But what that will hopefully do is get my heavy and assault side to converge a bit more, because my bots do put a good emphasis on focus fire, and when they're focusing fire, you get more bursty behavior. And this assault, you can see again, taking some chip damage. So that works out kind of well for me, but I'm not doing enough damage fast enough. I need to figure out some way of more consistently putting harm. Yeah, see his sniper there tried to secure this force field and lost like half its health doing it. Oh, he went in there again and then immediately retreated. Well, force fields in elimination I consider to be bait, because basically you need, there it goes. One of my snipers got his sniper. Force fields in elimination I consider to be bait, because whenever a bot goes into a force field, you're kind of rolling the dice. If your enemy doesn't target the bot, then the force field does nothing for it. If your enemy significantly targets the bot, it'll absorb a lot of damage, but then that bot cannot leave the force field. It's kind of one of those situations where if you're in a force field, you're there until you're dead or they're dead. And you can see even his machine gun lost over half of its health playing games with the force field. I think if he didn't have the force field logic in there, I think this would have been a draw and gone into another round where it would have been a split map. There's a fairly good chance it would have been a split map, and I think he would have fared a lot better there because of the shotguns. But 1 second on the clock. I took elimination. Owie took the series though, so congratulations, Owie, and I guess I got a heroic defeat. I think that's what we call that. Anyway, thank you for watching, and have a good one.